How you doing? This is Jimmy the Bull with a very important message, yo. Would you guys cut it out for 5 minutes over here? Don't forget, listen to Heavy Muscle Radio, Monday 7, or forget about it!
10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this June 11th, 2018 afternoon. And Chris, another big weekend in the bodybuilding world. The Chad Nichols show, Muscle Mayhem, took place. It's I love what I love about Chad. Chad and Kim Shizevsky have this, they have their Muscle Mayhem NPC amateur show, and then they decide we're going to do a pro show. You know what? Fuck all these other divisions. We're just going to do open men's bodybuilding. That's what started. That's what made Chad popular. And that's what people like, and we don't care if it costs a little more. I'd rather have one open division than have 14 small divisions that no one cares about. And that's what he did. That's it. They have one division there. I love it.
Well, I mean, I haven't been, but he gets a better lineup, or they get a better lineup every year. They got a great lineup this year. They had a great lineup last year, and I hear they have it in a great venue. And people that I know who competed in the show said that they're treated like, first class. And I said, well, that's because, Kim competed and Chad prepped people and they know, so
yeah,
that they do.
Very controversial decision. 2 weeks in a row, or I don't know if it's in a row, but 2 weeks back to back that Akim Williams has to settle for second place. In Toronto, he lost to Juan Morel, very close matchup. Some people felt that he deserved to win, some people didn't. We were trying to go back and forth. I know you were really thought that Akim should have won that show. I kind of said, hey, we weren't there. Akim, Juan has a bigger structure, and I kind of made an argument for Juan. Some people got on my case about it, but this week, Akim Williams versus Charles Griffen, I thought was a shoo-in victory for Akim Williams here, only because Griffin is kind of a smaller version of Akim. He's not really. Yeah. He doesn't have a bigger structure. He doesn't have anything really better than Akim. His legs are certainly not better than Akim's. I was surprised at the outcome, and according to the scorecards, it was unanimous. I mean, which to me is, I can't believe one judge didn't think that Akim deserved to win this show. What was your? I'm sure you've seen the pictures by now in the video. I did a wrap up, using some other people's stuff, and once again, I don't like to be too, I guess you could say, certain about things when I'm not there in person, but it looked like Akim Williams slam dunk all the way.
Well, in Akim's favor is, I don't have to be there to know that Akim is probably the heaviest muscled and densest guy, or one of the heaviest muscled and densest guys in the IFBB right now. I was in New York. Let's take it back to New York. I was sitting with Jose. We didn't really know what to think of him because of the lighting was weird. And we thought he was holding water, but, I didn't even know where to place him because he was so ridiculously big. So I'd say, okay, he's got to be able to beat X, Y, and Z guys, even if he's not in quite their condition, because he's, quote, off, but he's not miles off by any means.
Right.
And he got, crushed in the show. And, I thought he was bathed, way too much oil on him prejudging. I thought that kind of hurt him, and I think he was holding water. But when it came to muscle, I thought he was beyond freaky with oodles of muscle. So he comes into Toronto, and I went on the record last week. I thought he was his best, and I thought he was the winner, and that's no criticism of really Juan, because I thought Juan in New York was peeled, and I thought Juan was peeled in Toronto as well. So it's not like he's going up against a second-rate Juan. He's going up against Juan essentially at his absolute best. I think maybe Juan's legs were better when he did win the New York Pro a couple of years ago. He had a fuller look then, but he's definitely more grainy and tight and hard here. These last 2 shows won. And then you jump up to the Muscle Mayhem show, and it's, Akim is, by definition, the biggest, freakiest, densest on stage. And that's, again, not to be critical of Charles Griffen, because, I remember Charles when he won his class at the Nationals, and I thought he looked absolutely freaky hard at that show, and he had a lot of muscle density. And then he jumped up to like the Ferrigno. I remember, because a lot of people I just forget unless they make a big impact on me. And at the Ferrigno, I think it was his first pro show, he made a huge increase in mass and looked phenomenal and probably could have placed higher. And then he jumped into that California Pro because I had somebody in that show, and he ended up third, and he looked huge. He made another big jump in size. And then he did the Indiana show because I had people in that show. And he made another massive jump in size. So he's no slouch by any sense of anything. I mean, he's really come into his own, probably more so and faster over that span of those shows I just mentioned than anyone in the last couple of years. So you could make an argument that he's, a strong favorite after the Indiana show, coming into the show, seeing that he was second there to a tremendous Kuklo. Kuklo at his absolute best. And then, here he runs up against Akim, and I just think to some degree Akim's total wacky freak factor is enough to, get the win. That said, maybe people, Akim is so freaky, maybe people think he's blocky, if that makes sense.
He's, put it this way, his shape is no weirder than Charles Griffin's, and his legs are way better than Charles Griffin's. And I spoke to Oscar after the show. I actually talked to him at 3 a.m. yesterday, right after the show. And I said, "What the hell happened?"
You should have recorded it and played it. It'd be probably better than the show. That conversation would be better than me and you talking for 2 hours. Go ahead.
And he said Akim's very upset, of course, and I know he's upset. They don't know, what do you do? I mean, he's like, what do we do at this point?
You go to the next show.
That's what I said. I said, go to the next show. That's what I said to him. I said, this was a very poor decision, I thought. I said, look, I wasn't there. So I said, I wanted to call you, and, I know you're not going to lie to me. Tell me honestly, how did he look in person? I said, because I was watching the video, I said his posing from Toronto to this show in the Muscle Mayhem was amazing. He looked so much better. His presentation, his confidence on stage, he really looked like a pro and like the winner up there. He goes, yeah, we worked really hard on posing, and I see that. That's the reason I gave it to Juan. That was really the edge I gave to Juan. I said, I think that Akim just was posing, crappy. And I said, people judge these shows by pictures, but they're static shots. I understand when people move on stage, it can change. And that's why I gave that Juan the benefit of the doubt in Toronto. I said, but I saw the videos here. I saw him moving. I mean, Akim looked confident up there. It was like a different person I was looking at. I mean, he did a great job with him on that. And I said, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what to say to Akim. I said, I know he's upset, but I said, suck it up. That's all there is to it. He probably can go to the Olympia on points, but if he doesn't want to do another show, but I said, I think he keeps getting better and better. I said, Oscar,
he's making a catastrophic mistake, by not doing another show.
Yeah,
cataclysmic. Because Akim, the thing with Akim is, the Olympia audience would go nuts for him,
right?
Because they want freaks.
Yeah,
and he's got enough condition right now to not only get the response that, well, you're freaky, but to carry the condition where the audience will go nuts.
Yeah, do one more show, get the win, and then relax for a few weeks, and then
all the shows. It's an impossibility that he's not going to win the show.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
With that amount of muscle, it's not like his body got tired and he got small.
Right.
I mean, if he gets small, he's still bigger than 9 out of 10 people in the lineup.
No, you're right, and the guy never looks flat anyway. I mean, that's not his body just doesn't do those things that normal people's bodies do. He doesn't get flat. I know it sounds weird to people, but he doesn't get flat. It's just the way it is. People can't understand it, but it's true. It's 100% true.
Sometimes bodies like that, the more you starve them, the fuller they get.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's the complete 1,000%. It's a Bob Gruskin, like, Bob, how many carbs is a guy on? No carbs. For how long? 9 weeks. 9. How's he so big? You know what I mean? There's always exceptions to the rule like that.
Yeah, no, he's a real freak of nature, without a doubt.
It's like some people's their metabolisms crash on low carbs, which is not a bad thing if you keep all your muscle.
Well,
right?
I don't know. You know, like I said, I don't know what the reasoning was, and or what. I'd like to, speak to. I know Tyler was the head judge, but the head judge doesn't matter because the head judge doesn't vote. I'd like to see what the other judges were thinking and what their reasoning was behind placing the guys the way they did. Because you know what, like I said, we weren't there, so maybe they have a good a good reason. But this, like I said, I can understand Toronto. This was interesting decision because I really didn't see it, and that's, like I said, taking nothing away from Charles Griffen. He's a great bodybuilder, but I just thought Akim was better. Max Charles looked pretty good too. I got to tell you, in the lineup, if this guy, we're always saying it, legs. If the guy ever came up with a pair of legs that were a little better,
no, he's
upper body was amazing at the show.
Max is ridiculously dangerous when he's really sucked in and in great condition, and that looks to be what he was here.
Yeah.
I mean, his problem, he's had shows where he's ridiculously impressive, ridiculous. And he's had shows where he's off. And what happens with Max's physique is, and this is just absolute factual, if he's 5 pounds up with water or 5 pounds up with body fat off this look, it looks like for some reason 14 because it makes his taper look like radically different, and all the water gets like lodged in, or the little bit of extra fat lodged into the quads and makes him look small.
He's another guy, like you said, that you can suck the life out of, and he doesn't really get flat. He just gets more detailed. And
yeah.
But I think what happens is guys get in these guys' ears, and they're like, "Oh, you got to come in fuller, man. If you come in fuller, your legs they'll look bigger." But and I know that doesn't help.
Here's the thing, because Max has been peeled for a few shows in his life. Even when he's peeled, his back condition, still could be tighter, and glutes and hams still could be tighter, but it's, quote, good enough. And when he's peeled, he's still, he's only won one show, and he's placed really high at other shows. So if you come in peeled, someone's going to say you got to be fuller. And,
yeah, true.
When he tries to come in fuller, it's a disaster on his physique, and that's why he didn't place good at the New York Pro, and that's why he didn't place good in Toronto, and that's why he placed so good here, is because the difference of only 5 pounds in his body is like the difference between third, where he places here, and outside the top 10 or whatever, 10th what he got in New York, or 8th or whatever what he got in Toronto.
Right.
So, it's fuller does not work for him. Period.
You're right. I mean, but there's nothing they can say. But this was a good look for him, I thought, and so.
No, it's great when Max is when he's great, he's great, and when he's good, he's bad.
Well, I thought he matched up really well in all the shots. I think the top three was really tight, and I'm not saying that Max should have won, but he certainly wasn't that. I mean, he was certainly belonged up there with those guys. They all matched up really well against each other, which makes for a great show. When a guy like Rafael Brandeo, who's been on everyone's up and coming dark horse list, the last since New York. I mean, he's been doing every show, and we know you work with him. When this guy has to settle for fourth in this lineup, I mean, that tells you how good those guys are.
Yeah, those guys have more. They don't have better flow and shape, but it's not a flow and shape contest. They have muscle size and more density. Yeah. It's easy to get swallowed up on the most muscular. If you're, a call of 4 people, and you look at Max's most muscular, it's insane. Charles has got an insane most muscular. Akim is a freak. But Brandeo standing next to him just looks like he needs, an extra, 10 pounds of muscle or 10 Anadrol a day, one of the two.
and a guy like Michael Lockett finishes behind Brandeo in fifth, so that's a really good top five.
Yeah, it's a tremendous top five. I mean, it's a tremendous top five. And, if you just pull out Brandeo a lot, because I know people say, like, what do you do with him, and just pull him out for a second. And Lockett tends to be the guy with, like, the killer upper body. And I thought his upper body looked killer, but, compare it to Max, Charles, and Akim, and it's, it needs a little bit more size still.
Lockett's always shredded. That's his thing. He gets ridiculously detailed, and his upper body is great, and he's got small quads, or maybe no adductors. It's a little of both. One leg's a little smaller than the others, and he can win shows in lineups where guys are not as good as him. And he did that. He won 2 shows last year.
Yeah, he won Vancouver. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So, but because when he goes in there, he can exploit people's weaknesses because he's so freaky hard and he's got crazy muscle. His calves and his arms are ridiculous. Delts and chest, and he's got good abs, and so you can overlook the legs. But when you come into a lineup when you got guys like Akim with fucking unbelievable legs, and you can't beat him. I mean, Max has got an unbelievable upper body that blows Lockett out of the window there. And then you got a guy like Griffin who's just got the freak factor. Lockett can't stand with those guys. You can make an argument of him beating Brandeo, but Brandeo's got better shape and structure, and he's got better legs than him also. So once again, in this lineup, it's very difficult. Lockett just can't stand with these guys. But that doesn't mean that he can go to a show next week and win the whole show.
Well, of course, because that's why it means like it goes back. Well, that goes right back to Akim, because Lockett can win a show, and if Akim doesn't show up, then he's not going to the Olympia, but Lockett's going.
Right. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I know. That's why you're right. That's why Akim almost has to do the show.
You have.
I mean, look at Jarrett. Didn't Jarrett Williams win this show last year, or was it? No, he won.
No, he won the Cal.
He won the Cal. Okay, but he did well.
I think he was second. He was second last year.
Yeah, he was second, and now he has to settle for 6th. That tells you how good this lineup is.
Well, he's improved as well, so he's a better bodybuilder now than he was last year. That's for sure.
Absolutely. He comes in with terrific conditioning, and his back shots are great. For some reason he lacks something from the front. I don't know. I feel like he's like, maybe he's not that wide. Is that what it is? He's got a small waist, but is he not that wide, like his delts and structure? Something looks shallow up there.
I think he's wide with a tiny waist. He needs more cap to the delts, and he needs more bis and tris.
Yeah. So he doesn't have that overwhelming, showy muscle stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, he needs more delts. He needs more bis. He needs more tris. I'm sure he knows that.
Yeah.
And he could even he needs more pecs as well. So you're going up against Lockett, Max. Like Griffin and Akim. So it's take those guys out, and it becomes a conditioning show.
Right. And then
plays
Williams.
Up there, but these guys are denser and thicker right now.
Yeah.
But he's a better version. I saw the pictures, and he's definitely
he improved, and he improves every time out. Yeah.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he was better in Toronto as well. Whatever the last show he did, he was better than last year when he won.
Eddie Bracamonte's looked terrific. Also, he's got to settle for 7th place here. And here's a guy who, I know you work with him as well. He really looked good. You can make a case for this guy. Like, how does this guy not place top 6 here? But
Eddie's not dumb either. And I think he self-evaluated. He said, my quads have got to be bigger and my back denser, because, it goes back to the measuring stick is Akim or Griffin.
Right.
Take those guys out, and he's the first call out, in the top 5 in the show like this. But they're there, so it changes the dynamic. But I thought he looked great. I thought he looked great in all the shows this year. It's just that, we're not really talking about it, but if you look at the top 6 in New York, from Brandeo was 6 all the way up to Juan, 2nd, and Nathan in 1st, and then you fast forward to the depth of the California Pro, and then the depth of the Toronto Pro, and the depth here. People aren't talking about the strength of the top 5 in these shows. They're really, really good. It's not like the guy getting 5th place is like, well, he could be harder. Everyone in these shows, top 5 and 7, 8, are in, bang in shape.
I agree.
So I think that's the Eddie Bracamonte story. Is, I thought he looked great, and his weight is up over last year, which means probably, that he has more muscle. His condition is very good. He's just going up against a really deep top 3, 4, 5.
And it seems like these shows are getting some good quality competitors, and that's great that's good for the sport. We were talking before about, is classic going to replace open bodybuilding, and we're seeing all these open bodybuilders basically doing classic now, and you were debating with me whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, and I said, well, isn't that what classic bodybuilding is all about? It's the guys that have the classic shape can do the classic division. The problem is, will it steal too many people away from the open?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I mean the growth is in the classic. I mean that's without a doubt. But just because the growth is there, doesn't mean the mature division, in terms of, mature being however you want to define it. I define it as being around for the longest period of time. Right now, even though it's not the growth, in terms of competitors, people still want to go see Phil Heath, Ramy, and, top 5 from last year's Olympia. That's still the marquee, the calling card, right?
Right.
So, I mean, the growth is here in the classic, but there's still a ton of interest in the open. It takes a long time to make it and be successful in the open, which brings me to was Ken Jackson 8th place? I helped Ken.
Yeah.
And I thought he was at his absolute best.
Yeah, he did look good. He's a guy he's always like just on the outer part of that top 6.
Outer perimeter, and it goes back to the top 3. I mean, thick as hell. So
he had a lot of injuries he overcame, didn't he? He tore some muscles and stuff.
Yeah, very, very severe tricep injury. Took the full year. I mean, he took a year to add muscle back from like nothingness.
Yeah.
He didn't do a Cody Montgomery 21-day prep. He did a 12-month, add the muscle on, add the muscle on, add the muscle on, add the muscle on, get out, get heavy, and then diet down from there. So it took him a long time to come back. And it's the same story here. It's he looked great. I thought crazy round for his frame, in really good shape. The litmus test is Akim. I keep coming back with Akim. It's ridiculous.
Well, it is. It's like I said, when you have an injury like that, which a tricep is a nasty tear, and unless you branch Warren, it's a long recovery. And Ken's a hard worker. He's got his own gym. As a matter of fact, Ken trains this guy Brian Barczyk and his wife, who I'm friends with. They're like the biggest like reptile breeders. Like they're the most well-known people. They have like over 1 million people on their YouTube channel. And I actually...
I would have got you a gift. I would have got you like a free reptile.
Yeah, well, I actually sold Ken a snake, believe it or not. I don't know why he wouldn't get it from them, but it was cool that he bought one for me. But anyway, I sent Brian Barczyk, they use Species Nutrition. I sent them a whole bunch of stuff, and they did a little video on it in their blog. Their vlog they do on YouTube, which gets like over, well over 100,000, people viewing it each vlog they do. And we got him, and I gave him a coupon code and everything like that, and I got like a lot of orders from it. It was crazy. Imagine people who breed snakes are buying like nutritional supplements because they saw it in this vlog. So it just goes to show you the power of social media, nowadays. It really is pretty amazing. But yeah, Ken looked good. I think if he can stay healthy, maybe by next year this time he could really do some damage. But I blame you for ruining the open men's bodybuilding, because you're the guy sucking all the open bodybuilders down to the classic division, 22 pounds, 15 pounds, 17 pounds.
No, I
just guys, if you don't like it, blame Aceto. He's running the men's open division. That's what people are saying, probably. I'm sure.
What is that? A segue? That sounds like a segue into the Regan, Chris Bumstead pick.
Yeah, there was a great picture there up on. I saw that Chris Bumstead, who obviously
They look
was
like
second
cousins,
at the classic
man. They
Olympia.
look like, right? Don't they look like they could be cousins?
I think they are cousins, aren't they? No. A lot. I got news for you. There's a lot of great Canadian bodybuilding talent coming out of there. I don't know. All of a sudden, Canada was always very dry in talent in the IFBB Pro League, and now we're seeing a lot of really good guys. We have Ian Valliere.
Because it was dry because they had the cockamamie idea of like they would give one pro card. I mean,
right.
How many times did we rail against that and ended up being right?
True. Ian Valliere dates Chris Bumstead's sister, right? And
Yeah.
I think Ian does Bumstead's diet also. It's a very incestuous relationship. I don't know what Regan's relationship to them is, but I know he lives around them, doesn't he?
I don't know if he lives around them or not, but you know, Bumstead has beaten Regan when they were teens, and I think Regan might have beaten Bumstead when they were teens a couple times, or under juniors, Canadian juniors. But you know, it's funny because Bumstead looks gigantic next to Regan. I mean, doesn't look bigger than Regan. I don't think that Regan looks that much bigger than him. It's a testament to Bumstead's structure. The front last word on Bumstead is
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I still stand by I really like Breon Ansley a lot. I had him on my show a lot, but I still stand by my original belief that I thought Bumstead should have won the Olympia. But it'll be a good rematch this year for sure.
Yeah, well, there'll be the big. You know, there's going to be so much interest going into that show because you know you're going to get the hype machine behind Regan, and then you're going to get the non-hype machine around Bumstead because Bumstead's already been there. The hype is Regan and people will be insulted by it because he hasn't even been on the Olympia stage, and people can be saying, "Oh, Regan's going to win," and then the Bumstead fans are going to say, "Look, you know."
Bumstead's got the height, and I think that the height in that division,
I think it's monumental.
Is really that's what to me what defines classic, and I'll tell you why. Because short, while you can still have a beautiful structure and everything in shape and flow, and that's what Breon has, it just doesn't look as impressive. Like classic is like the guy with the taller guy with the long legs and the V, you know, the good X frame.
Well, how would a Team Universe? Jose would probably. This is a question for Jose. Maybe we can give him the call in tonight. How would a 100% natural? Who's the guy from New Jersey with the who looked like a trophy when he was winning the Team Universe?
Marvin Ward.
Marvin Ward as a bantamweight do.
He's impressive, but you know. He's short. I think tall looks better in classic. That's just my own personal opinion.
That's why I asked you. I wanted to serve you a softball.
Don't you think that these tall guys, the Wesley Vissers and the Bumsteads and who's the other tall, even Laureus when he's in shape, you know, it's impressive to see these tall guys up there with that crazy small waist and the crazy V taper, X frame. Tony Freeman, before he got, you know, super huge, would have been when he was younger. Probably would have been a great classic physique guy.
Yeah. No. When I wonder what did Freeman weigh when he won the Nationals? He'd fit that formula.
Yeah, he probably would have stuck in there. He was not that much. He was. I was way bigger than him. I was second behind him when he won Nationals, and he probably was like. He'll probably never admit it, but he was probably like 228 or something like that. You know, something like, and he was 6'2" or something like that. You know.
I think he could be up to 240 pounds at that
height. Yeah, he would have been a great classic guy with that look. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. You know, we'll see. What did you think of the classic physique at the Omaha show this past weekend?
You mean at Chad's show?
No, Chad didn't have any. Chad didn't have classic.
That's the bodybuilding show, because I had somebody in that show who looks just like a bodybuilder.
The Omaha show is Jack Titoni's show, and Panassi Pierre won that show, and I remember working with him in bodybuilding, and I said, "Man, these guys outsize you, and this is a perfect division for him." He won over Omar Batista.
I mean, the class looked great. I think top 5, top 6, 7, 8 had impeccable condition.
Remember David Paderak from the Nationals? Did he win welterweight or something like that, or something?
What place did he get?
He was 4th. I mean, he looked really good, but he looks like a bodybuilder to me too. But he's got the good vacuum pose, you know, from the front. Doesn't have the super small waist, but he's. I look at him. I'm like, I don't even know how this guy made the weight class. He looks so big.
Yeah.
But he's short, you know. So.
What place was Jason Lowe? I helped Jason Lowe. 5th, 6th.
Jason was 6th. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's a bodybuilder. You know, I mean
Russ Allen I see in this class. He was a bodybuilder.
Oh, what place did Russ get? I didn't know he was in the show.
9th place. Yeah.
9th. Damn. That's a lot of depth because he placed really high in a recent show that.
This was a good lineup. You know, Panassi was first. Omar Batista second.
Jose Panassi the second he saw him.
What?
Jose, I think, saw him at in the weigh-in or something. He saw a glimpse of him, and Jose gave me the prediction that he was going to win.
Well, this was a guy who was a natural bodybuilder for many years. He's a Team Universe guy talking about Team Universe, and he found the right division for himself. Lawan Jones in third. I told you Paderak in fourth. Brian Martinez in fifth, and then Jason Lowe in sixth. So really good lineup in that men's classic division, I thought, at that show. And it was deep. There was like almost 20 something guys in the show. So
yeah,
you're getting a lot of turnout.
What about the show they had at the Breakers? They have a show this weekend?
Chris, you're in trouble, man. Chris is referring to. I can't get it out of my head. It's cracking me up so much. No one knows what I'm talking about. I almost hate not to even talk about it. Steve Blackmon's brother.
Neil?
No, it wasn't Neil. I'm pulling it up. Hold on, I'm pulling up the video. I got to pull up his page. So I want to get all my information correctly. I would play it for you guys, but it's for some reason it's just not playing well. Every time I put my phone near my microphone, I get like crazy feedback. But I'll do a video on it probably, I'm sure, at some point, because I know maybe I'll do it without Iron Rage with Romano and Lee Priest. We'll have to review the video. Steve's brother. My brother. Steve's younger brother, actually, it is. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
There's two sets of twins. That's where the twin lab thing came from. But Steve's youngest brother is the guy who wound up winning Dean Blackmon. That's his brother's name. Dean wound up running the company, when the father died.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they were all voting who's going to run the company, who's going to be the CEO in the charge, of everyone making all the decisions. Because all the brothers owned equal parts of it, but who was going to be in charge? And all the twins were like fighting with each other who's going to do it. So Steve decided he was going to throw his support with the younger brother. And they wound up that the younger brother wound up getting enough votes, and the other brothers hated him after that.
Do I know my stuff? Staying at did I gave you the prediction on what the cost is for
Dean did. So Dean Blackmon has this thing called Dean on the Street. He's got his own little stupid thing he does on Facebook, and it's Steve and his brother Dean sitting by the pool at the Breakers Hotel. Tell us what the Breakers in Palm Beach is all about.
Well, it's an old money hotel. It's a giant concrete hotel that's been around since Palm Beach has been around. And when you said they were staying at the Breakers, I said, well, it's probably like $1,200 a night. I just Googled it, and it's $1,215. I should have gone on Price is Right.
You're pretty good. Yeah, you're good.
$15 below what my prediction was per night, and that's on the standard room. So I wonder which if they stayed in the standard room.
Yeah,
and the hotel was bought. The hotel was bought by, I forget the guy's first name. His name's Green from Boston. He's a billionaire. He made his money betting against mortgages in 2008.
Oh, really? There you go. That's a pretty nice little.
He used to be. I know that, Dave. He used to be a dishwasher there.
Really? Wow, that's all great working your way up.
And he used to say, "Someday I'm going to own this hotel."
That's awesome. That's a feel good story, right?
Yeah, you should have him on your show.
So what is it like? All like people like wannabes in there going there?
Well, it's old money, but it's got also people who stay there. Of course, new money who want to pretend they've had money for a long period of time, like old money, right? Yeah,
so Blackmon is just sitting with his brother, and they're talking about my brother knows everything. My brother's nursing a hamstring injury, and but he's coming back. And then Steve's like, "Yeah, it's all you got to get heat. It's about heat." Heat shock proteins. That's the future of therapeutic, recovery. So I'm watching these things and I'm just laughing because all the people think I make up these imitations about Blackmon, but they're all like. If you want to go watch Dean Blackmon's Facebook page, he'll be so happy he's gonna get 1 million views after people go watch this thing. But it's so funny because you'll be like, holy shit, Dave's got the fucking impression down perfect. When they hear Steve talking. And then there's another video of them in the gym, and he's like, we're here at the Breakers, and his brother sounds just like, and he's like, Steve, I hear you can do 300 push-ups or something like that. And Steve's like, yeah. He goes, I do them close grip because I want to work my triceps more, and I do them very fast. I'm going to show you. I do them very fast, but it's because muscle damage. Romano. Chano loves to tell the story about muscle damage. Like Steve used to do these violent preacher curls, and
Shaky jerky, yeah.
he would tear he would always hurt himself in the gym. And Romano would be like, Steve, what the fuck are you doing with this crazy form? Nah, muscle damage. You got to damage the fibers. Meanwhile, he's got like 11-inch arms, maybe.
Well, you can poo-poo that theory with Dillette, who never damaged any fibers in his life.
Yeah. I will say one thing about Steve. Steve's got to be, 7 years old?
Yeah, he looks incredible.
Is he 70 or is he in his 60s?
No, he can't be 70, dude. He's still young. He's got to be like 67, 66.
Oh, he's maybe 65 or something like that. But I'll give him one thing. The guy fucking looks amazing still for his age.
He totally does.
He's probably going to live to 120. He'll probably outlive us,
Yep. Magazines will be back in vogue. You know how things come back in vogue?
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, those are magazines. Oh.
Yeah, they'll do like a revival, type of thing. People rejecting technology, they want to go back to paper.
Yeah.
I knew it. I'm glad I didn't close up shop.
Yeah, I'm glad I kept the 11 pages going.
I got Donald Trump. I saw him at the Breakers. He's the ex-president. He's investing in my magazine. So yeah, that's.
Trump's right up the street at Mar-a-Lago, where he increased once he became president, he increased the yearly fee from to join the club, or maybe it's a one-time fee of $100,000 to $200,000.
Oh, you hear that, my son?
Oh. Someone's waiting up.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go up there. Let me see.
Was he yelling for you?
Yeah, that's.
Dave's trying to do a radio show at 12:45.
Yeah. My wife's overworking, filling orders, so he's up. I see his eyes open. All right,
this is the best part of the show.
All right. Yeah, I know. Hold on. All right, hold on a second. I'll be right there. Chris, so my son, decided to wake up in the middle of our show, so I had to go up there and calm him. Of course, it's like he knows, like when we're doing a show, and I'm like, every time, he usually goes right back to sleep when he wakes up in the middle of the night. I'm like trying to tiptoe out of there, and he's like, Dada, where are you going? Like pretty much, he can't say where you're going, but he's pretty much implying that.
Like an arm.
Yeah.
How'd you get up there?
He just fell asleep on his own, luckily. But I was up there for a while. So I'm like, I got to at least start answering emails. So I'm just answering emails on my phone while I'm laying in bed, pretending to sleep. Daddy's sleeping. Mama's sleeping too. Even though my wife's over. Amanda's over at the office across the driveway filling orders right now. My friend Cole Hansick's in town, actually. He came in for the weekend, so he's been hanging out with us all weekend. So it's been fun. We went to, where do you think we went for dinner tonight?
You went to the all-you-can-eat buffet where you go every single day.
Golden Corral. I don't go there every single night. I only go there when the people come visit me. You know what? We don't even eat out anymore. Since my daughter's been born, we really have not gone to many places. We only go to Golden Corral. And Golden Corral is great because you can just go there and do whatever the freak you want. They don't care.
Well, you don't have time with the two of them to get out then.
It's hard because she doesn't. They don't cooperate at the same time. My daughter is not cooperative. My son was great. He would just sit in his car seat and sleep while we basically ate dinner, which was great. Once you have two, it's harder, I think. You have three, so yeah. I'm sure you know what I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
No, I'm not. Well, now I'm at the age where I would prefer to go to Golden Corral. You take them on
it's cheaper too. Yeah.
Well, I'll have the 18-ounce steak. I said, no, you won't.
They're ordering fancy stuff?
We used to take them out to eat, and just everything was cheaper at one time.
Yeah. Well, they eat a lot more food now too. I'm sure they're probably eating out of house and home.
It's insane. I just told them just tonight, stop eating.
You got to get Carlo Filipponi to send you. He has this new website called the Chicken Pound. It's not, it's not meals. I like it. I like what he does better. He's like, you know what? No one fucking cares about the green beans and the freaking brown rice. I'm just gonna sell you chicken. It's called the Chicken Pound. They're containers of cooked chicken, seasoned, healthy, but tastes delicious, of just chicken by the pound. You can buy 1 pound. You can buy 50 pounds if you want of it. You put it. I throw them in my freezer. I put them in the microwave, or and they warm them up, and you got fresh cooked chicken. It's so easy because the protein's the pain in the ass. It's easy to make the carbs, or
potato in a microwave.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I put my
white
minute rice.
Vegetables.
No, but I'm saying that you could put frozen vegetables into the microwave with the rice. That's what I do, and so it's the protein that who wants to cook and clean up and everything like that.
I only ate vegetables when I was trying to get lean.
Right.
Otherwise,
yeah, I never ate them either.
Who wants to eat them?
You're right. Because
They
you
don't
know what? They
taste
take up space. They take up
Yeah,
space.
yeah, they take up space and they don't taste good. They're like,
Because it's hard enough to eat enough food to grow to begin with. Who the hell wants to throw vegetables in there? Then now you can't eat anything, you know?
yeah,
You know what I'm kind of depressed about? Anthony Bourdain died.
yeah.
He's the guy who...
Committed suicide.
Yeah, what was he? I watch his show Parts Unknown and all those where he travels around and
Yeah.
eats all the different food and gets drunk in all the different countries. But what was he originally known for? He was one of the
Kitchen
original.
Confidential.
Right, he had that show on the Food Network, right?
Well, he had the book. He wrote a book about what really goes on in restaurant kitchens. You know, like they drop stuff on the floor. You know, they bleach stuff. You know, anything, all the crazy, gross
Oh,
things.
really? I didn't know that.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
And he wrote that book thinking that nobody would read it. So, and he was, quote, nobody. So he told the truth.
Right.
And it was like a runaway bestseller. And from that, you know, parlayed him into, I mean, he was just so, parlayed him into a food critic, but really he was a people critic. You know what I mean? He would tell stories of, he would give insight into not the glamorous restaurants, but the, you know, the third rate or the, you know, the D-list restaurants where people are trying to make a go of it. And, you know,
or the restaurants that no one knows about that are like the hidden restaurants. I mean, if anyone's ever watched Parts Unknown, that TV show, and there was another one also where he would travel around the world, like something like, I think it was like Stopover it was called or something like that, you know. He wrote the whole script. It probably took him, it's like each episode is like,
oh
it's
yeah,
like a
fascinating.
book. I don't know how he wrote it all. He had to be a genius, you know.
Yeah, well, you know what? One of my homeschooling field trips was we watched the Miami.
I saw that one. It was great.
And then we went to all the restaurants.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great
And
idea.
they were supposed to. I was supposed to make them write about it, but we just talked about it.
Yeah, like you talked about the movie you just saw, right?
Yeah.
With
So
your
we
wife.
went to all the.
Chris is like, oh, I just got back from the movie. I need 10 minutes to discuss the movie with my wife before we start the radio show.
So we discussed the kids discussed the restaurants that we saw on the TV show, and it was great getting to go and all the little dives in Miami that he reviewed, and the people we interviewed. That's who was running the restaurants that we went to.
That's great. Yeah, I love this stuff. If you guys always are looking for something to watch, when you go on Netflix and watch Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, and there's another series too, you guys will love it. I mean, it's really good. This guy was a genius. But all these guys that are like super talented are all nuts. You ever notice that they're all like troubled. They're all like they suffer depression.
Well, what I noticed is he would go to like Dave Palumbo's restaurant in what was the name of the town you used to live in?
Seaford.
How could I forget it? Seaford. And he would sit down and, go through your life with the viewer, but he would have 90 scotches or 90 vodka tonics.
Or he'd be like, "What's the local alcohol here?" Well, we brew our own, vodka. Oh, all right.
Good,
Well,
bring me 10 gallons.
yeah, he would be
And so
trashed.
there was
I know.
something there.
That's
There
what
was
was so great about the
something
show.
there.
He was always trashed on that show. And he swore that he didn't drink when he wasn't on the show. I don't believe it, but crazy, right? Anyway,
I wonder what he's. Well, I mean, it's a little
terrible that he killed himself.
How did he
You got to
die?
be very
He committed
troubled to
suicide.
kill yourself, right?
Well, I mean, it's a crazy world. I can understand. It's bizarre as it sounds. I can understand people's
Think about
desire
it.
to escape it.
Think about it. He had a young kid too, even though he was divorced. I understand that, but I think he had a 7-year-old or something like that. You got to be very troubled to end your life. My father used to say, "I don't want to live anymore." But my father's still alive, obviously.
Well,
so
he loved the attention of
Yeah.
declaring that.
Right. People who
No, Sal, don't do it.
people
Don't
who
do
want
it.
to kill themselves just kill themselves. That's the usual way it is. But sad.
Well, they do, but they also make little. There's always red flags, where they say, they make announcements somewhere.
My friend Larry Isho, he jumped off the Verrazano Bridge. He
Oh,
lived.
yeah, you
I
told me
told
that,
you.
yeah.
The bridge
He
he
lived
lived,
on the
but then
street, right?
yeah, but then 2 years later he died anyway, a drug overdose. So he obviously he didn't really overcome his desire to kill himself,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Let's get back to we're talking about the Omaha Pro Show. We talked about the men's physique, but I wanted to just mention they had a women's bodybuilding. Isabel Terrell, who's I think one of the more talented female bodybuilders out there, she wins that. I guess that qualifies her for that Wings of Strength Rising Phoenix show championships, which will be in I think the end of August, beginning of September. Bikini was won by Marsha Goncalves, Stacy McLeod second, and Natasha Coleman, who's one of our species nutrition athletes, in third. Congratulations to her. Brittany Dane fourth, and Francesca Lauren fifth. And in women's physique, Mila Ash, who looked tremendous. I saw some of the pictures on NBC News Online. Woof, she looked really good. You'd be impressed. She wins there. Leanne Temnik second, Valentina Machina from Russia third, Robin Mays fourth, and Allison Schmuel in the fifth position. So they had a nice little show there. That Omaha show that Jack Titoni runs, remember when he started it. It was like one division in the pro division, and now they have like who would have thought Omaha, Nebraska has 4 pro divisions? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it is very impressive.
So congratulations to Jack and Ann for putting on another great show. They really raised their game up. I remember when they started all these shows, I'm like, Jack, you're holding shows in Iowa, Nebraska. He's like, I'm telling you, the untapped markets. I said, you know what? You're probably right. Why go where everyone else is already,
Yeah, well, that's it goes back to restaurants. I mean, do you know how tremendous your restaurant has to be to stand out, let's say, in Manhattan? Whereas you could go to Omaha and have a very good restaurant, or, actually a restaurant that would do really well in Manhattan, but you probably do more business in Omaha because you've got a captive market, meaning less competition,
Sure. Makes sense. Makes 100% sense. You sold me on it. Where do we invest? Let's go open a restaurant. Would you ever want to do something like that? Open a restaurant?
Oh, I wanted, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be in restaurant business or hotel management.
You were? I didn't know that. Interesting. How come you didn't go to one of those hotel management schools?
Because I was stupid.
You live right in the area. That's where they all are. They're all up in New England, aren't they?
Yeah. No, they have all kinds of great schools.
They got one in Rhode Island, don't they? What is it called?
Yeah, Johnson
Wales, yeah.
You want to be an executive chef or...
And the people who graduate from those shows all get good jobs, from what I understand.
Oh, of course. Or hotel management. I mean, that was before hotel. That was a desire before people went into that type of stuff.
Right. No, I think you would have been good at it. You're good at telling people to do. I would have been terrible. My hotel would have gone. I would have had a beautiful hotel, would have gone out of business because I'm not tough enough on people. You'd be great at that.
Yeah, I was in eviction court the other day, speaking of being tough, and a guy said to me, I've been good to you. Isn't that strange? He's not paying his rent, and he's telling me I've been good to you because I'm there to evict him. And then I'm there with someone else, someone who works with me.
Yeah.
And the guy comes up to me and says, are you a landlord? I said, I was going to say maybe. I said, yeah. He said, I'm looking for a place to live.
Oh, that's so funny.
He's in eviction court.
In other words, he got evicted. Now he wants someplace to live.
Yeah, he haven't even got locked out of his place.
You should be like, well, pay me a year in advance, and we'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, a good friend, what's his name, Derek, who bought you those headphones that you don't wear, and he sent a list of questions. He sent me about 10 questions. The first question actually was Anthony Bourdain. Ironically enough, I didn't even realize it, but so we already covered that. He wants to know, what music, Chris, do you listen to when you work out?
I guess I would have to work out, so I don't work out, so I don't listen to anything.
Oh, you stopped working out already?
Oh my gosh, that's like a New Year's. That was done by January 10th.
You only lasted 2 weeks.
I just testified too snowy. I'm not getting up. Too dark in the morning. Too cold in the morning.
Did we talk about the Flex Wheeler London Reel interview?
No, we did not.
Okay, I can't remember who I talked to anything about, but I watched. Flex Wheeler was on this London Reel interview show that's on. It's gotten pretty popular. It's out of the UK. Dorian Yates really made that show really popular. He was on there. His original interviews were really well received. So they got. I guess Flex Wheeler was out there for the Body Power show a couple weeks ago, and he did it. And they asked him to be on the show, and he did a very, very, very open, he just opened the book up, no filter whatsoever. Here's my life. And I was blown away by it. It was great. I actually texted him and told him that it was a great interview. Best interview I've ever seen of him. And he just, I didn't know a lot about Flex Wheeler, the real Flex Wheeler's life. He grew up a very troubled childhood.
I was just, you know what my theme of today was? It had to do with Anthony Bourdain. Everything's connected to anything. When I heard that Anthony Bourdain committed suicide, I just thought, like matter-of-factly, nothing is what it appears. Nothing is what it appears. Because I thought of that, and then I found out someone I know who lives like he's a billionaire. And I've always said to someone that he must just have something illegal going on. He's got something illegal going on. And I said, nothing's what it appears. And then I find out that some, couple that would make outwardly my marriage look like terrible or your marriage look like terrible is just, that marriage is done.
Oh, well, that's always the case. Anyone who makes us look bad, like people who hold hands and pretend to be such a great couple in public, those are always the people that have the worst relationships behind closed doors.
Yeah. So I was just thinking this week that nothing's what it appears.
Yeah. Well, Flex Wheeler was suicidal. I didn't know that. He's still suicidal, he says.
I didn't know that either, see?
He's been suicidal his whole life. He's been fighting suicidal thoughts. Never thought he was good enough.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Came from a very poor, upbringing.
Well, there's nothing wrong with not thinking that you're good enough because it's often a great motivator. That pain of thinking I'm just worthless. But, taking it to that next level is taking it to another level.
Yeah, he tried to kill himself at 11 years old.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took half a bottle of aspirin. I mean, it's a great interview if you guys want to watch it. I mean, go to YouTube. They have part 1 up, but I think if you actually go to the London Real website, they actually have you can watch, as long as you register, you can watch the Flex Wheeler interview in its entirety, and it's a really good one. The first 20 minutes is very powerful. The rest of it's really good too, and Flex has got some pretty good, interesting insights into life, and he uses a lot of quotes, not quotes, but like cliche statements that like you'd read in self-help books, which is good because I think a lot of people need to hear it. But he's got look, he sounds like he's been in I don't know if he's ever gone to therapy, but it sounds like he's been in therapy because he really has a lot of good insights into himself, even though he can't help, like he says, I can't help myself regarding some of these situations. But I gave me a better understanding who Flex was. And maybe I better understood exactly. We had that little run-in. You remember where he was like, wanted to beat me up, like at FIBO last year.
Yeah,
he was insulted that Valentino and Boston Lloyd were saying some stuff about him, and now I didn't really understand why anyone would think that, would worry about that. But now I understand. I have a better insight into who he is from that interview. And like I said, I texted him after, and I said, that was a really great interview you did. And, I think it's going to help a lot of people. Yeah, he said thank you. He was but it was very honest. It was one of the most honest interviews. It's very hard to be honest about yourself when you have a lot of terrible things that have happened to you, and that you because you're trying to portray yourself as a certain way, and then it's like, well, this is really who I am. Here it is,
Yeah, take it or leave it. I mean, until you confront that and just put it out there, then you're always hiding it, and if you're hiding it, then you're not who you are anyway. I
didn't realize he was I knew he was a good martial artist. I didn't know how good he was. He was very good. He was the best in California at one point.
I didn't know that either.
And he had to make a decision. He had to make a decision between going into martial arts or bodybuilding. And at the time, martial arts, no one was making money. There was nothing. Yeah. And I guess whoever he was advising him said, "You got to. There's no choice. It's bodybuilding. I mean, you're made for the sport. You're going to be one of the best." And so he put his efforts into bodybuilding at that point. But if there was MMA, like there is now UFC fighting, he might have gone into that, because he was that good. He was that good of a martial artist. So interesting. You learn a lot about people when they open up like that. I thought that was a good thing for him to do. I think.
You got to ask him for an old photo of his Suzuki Samurai that he used to drive into Golds when he was an amateur.
I remember the Mercedes he drove because I came there to visit one week, and I pull in, and I'm like, who the hell's sitting in that Mercedes right in front of the gym? He was there when I got there, and someone said, I think it's Flex's car. It was all blacked out windows, stereo blast. And
Ask him what. Okay, he had a Suzuki Samurai. Do you know what a Suzuki Samurai was?
I remember them, but I don't.
It was, the Jeep Wranglers with the, those cool Jeeps where you can ride like without the doors and stuff.
Right.
Suzuki came out with one that cost like $1,000. Actually, they were like $6,000 or something.
Right.
And they were made of like nothing, and they looked cool. But if you get in a car accident, you probably like die instantly in one.
Yeah.
And he pimped it out, and I'm not sure, but I think he tried to copy budget version of Mike Christian, who used to drive to Gold's with a Mercedes to this day. I think he's paid. I think Mike Christian may have paid either $120 or $200 for that Mercedes.
Oh wow!
But that was, I'm talking 92, 90.
I remember Stridham used to have that. They used to drive the S Mercedes, right, series. That they were like really expensive.
It was complete custom because it was a convertible that they didn't make. So Mike paid like another $40 to have the, top to be able to come down.
Oh, you mean he made it into a Mercedes, into a convertible rather?
Yes. Yep. Mike did.
That's crazy.
And he used to pull in to Gold's with that thing, and man.
So this was before Flex was making money, because I know once Flex made money, he was.
Kid then. No, because Flex was like I don't think he had won the Cali yet, but he had the Samurai.
That's funny. One of these days I'll interview him. We'll get him on the show. I'll have to ask him that. I'll have to get you on too, because you know a lot about him, because you were living there when.
Yeah, I used to see him coming up all the time. Well, you had Branch Warren on, right?
Yeah, Branch was great. That interview was phenomenal. If any of our listeners haven't listened to that or seen it, go watch it. It was really good. Branch really opened up too. That was a good interview. Branch had a rough upbringing too. His dad was abusive, and I asked him. I said, Branch, how did you turn out so well? I mean, you've talked about your dad and how rough he was on you, and he's like, I had an awesome mom. He goes, that's why I turned out so good. I had a very strong, awesome mom. I said, well, there you go. You're gonna if your dad's not gonna be nice to you, or is not gonna be productive to you being who you are, then I guess you got to have a great mom if you really want to make it. He's like, my dad, it was tough love. Obviously it wasn't a good way to come up when you have someone who's abusive like that. But he made me very tough and independent. And so I guess in the long run it might have worked out all right.
Yeah.
It was a good interview. Very, very honest. And we talked about his businesses he's involved in now, and all the different. I didn't really harp on his career too much. We went over some stuff like his injuries.
Yeah, well, people know that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to rehash everything. I wanted to really kind of just get an idea of. I wanted people to get an idea of who Branch was, and why he's so successful at everything he puts his mind to. Here was a guy who they said you'll never be a good bodybuilder. He won team nationals, and then he turned pro, and then they could still say you're not going to be a good bodybuilder. He won the Arnold Classic twice. He won 6 most muscular awards there, and he was second at the Olympia behind Jay. I mean, who the hell would have predicted that, right?
Yeah, that was a shock in 2009.
And he deserved it. He really did look great.
Well, Dexter looked better, but
yeah, but even third at the Olympia. Come on, I mean, this is a guy who he didn't have the greatest genetics, for bodybuilding.
Ask Dexter about the 2009 Olympia.
Yeah, I'm sure Dexter would not be happy about that.
No, because the prejudging came down to the last call of Jay and Dexter, and then all of a sudden Dexter ends up in third.
Yeah, well, I think at night Branch really came alive, if I remember correctly, back to that show. I've
never seen Dexter die after. I mean, how alive can you come against Dexter?
Branch is pretty freaky at that show. I gotta look at the old. We gotta go back and look at pictures. We should do a recap of that Olympia. A lot of people, it's funny. People know nothing about the history of the Olympia. It's really bizarre when you think about it, but they don't. If they barely remember the one that happened last year.
Well, they don't even know history. Period. Trump thought that Canada burned down the White House in 1812.
Is that true?
Yeah. He thought that Canada burned down the White House in 1812. He got it confused with Britain.
All right, here's Derek's stump the Aceto question of the day.
I'm easy to stump.
I figure I could also throw. it kind of hinges on our suicide theme of the show, and I'm giving you hints, and it's a quote of the week at the same time. So we get a quote of the week, we get a question, a Stump the Aceto question, and we get something that's going to play upon our suicide theme, because that's kind of how he died. All right, here we go. Here's the quote. You tell me who said it. Quote, "I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not."
Probably Muhammad Ali.
Well, he didn't commit suicide.
Oh, it was a suicide.
Suicide guy, yeah.
I'd rather be...
He died at 27 years old, this guy.
I don't know, Kurt Cobain?
Yes, you got it. Wow. That was unbelievable. What made you decide to pick Kurt Cobain?
Because he had genuine introspection.
That was good. I'm impressed, Chris.
Not Instagram introspection,
That's
where
right.
people put these damn quotes on every single day of like...
They're cliches what people put up today.
Yeah. So there's a difference between, genuine introspection and, when you get very introspective, then it's easy to get to, you can get depressed.
Kurt Cobain was our age. He would have been 51 today if he was still alive. So, Derek, sorry, no T-shirt. You couldn't stump Aceto.
I actually, since I got that one, I want something from him. Give me that book, How to Live to 100.
How Not to Die. I have to send it to you. I have it in my office.
Cliff notes to me. I can't give up. I can't exercise. That's definite. So if that's part of it, I can't do that.
That's right.
I can't give up sugar because I'd rather have sugar over anything.
That's funny.
I can't give up not sleeping because I just got.
You don't sleep anyway, so what's the difference?
No.
It's not like you sleep a lot.
I've been operating on 4 hours for a long time.
Me too, but I figured out how you do it now.
You just don't worry about it.
I figured the solution out. And I don't know, you probably do better than I do because you do coffee, but I don't do stimulants. Here's what I do. First of all, I found that when you don't work out, you don't really need to sleep as much. That's the number one thing I learned.
That's one of my pet peeves. You know what, Dave? That's why I don't even like working out.
Trump. That's why Trump doesn't work out. I figured it out.
Yeah.
You don't need as much sleep when you don't work out. When I worked out, I need 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. It is what it is.
I would need.
I train 2 days a week now, but I don't even train because my good shoulder is good, but my bad shoulder, the one I haven't done yet, sucks. So I go through the movements, but I don't really do anything crazy. So it doesn't really sap me of any energy, and so I don't work out. So that reduces my sleep down. And because we can't get any work until the kids go to bed, when I go up and take Logan to sleep, I fall asleep for about 15-20 minutes. It's like a power nap. Now I've completely become my dad because my dad used to do that. After dinner, he would go up and take a nap so that he can do his writing all night. When we were kids. And then when Logan falls asleep, I come down, and I'm like rejuvenated. And so my wife, and I will work on the computer and answer questions. And I answer questions. She does the orders, and I go to bed at 3:30 in the morning. I wake up that's the wife. Oop. Should we put her on the line?
I don't know. You probably have to let her know.
You're on the air, Amanda.
Never mind that.
Chris said you'd say that.
Told you.
Cole wants a Palumbo's, Pythons, and Boas T-shirt from you, and so we were trying to find maybe a 2X or a 1X.
I think I only did 1Xs and larges. So
Cole Hanzik is going to be too big for your Palumbo's, Pythons.
Yeah, they won't fit him. Yeah. Snake people are not that big. Tell him.
Okay, he's very disappointed.
I might have a 2X in there. You gotta look. I might have it. I think I only did XLs and larges, but I might have one.
He's extremely disappointed because he wanted to wear that T-shirt to Bev's.
I'll have to make him a special one.
Yeah. So he's going to wear the skin tight extra large, just so you know.
Right.
Okay, that was it.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Happy life, happy wife. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Cole's here. He's going. When Cole comes over, I think a lot of people when Cole comes and visits me, he goes to. I have all these like samples from people send me and pre-workouts and all kinds of craziness, clothing, and he's like rummaging through everything, like like your kids go through everything. Wait, what's this, Dad? What's this, Dad?
Yeah.
And I just give it to him.
Nothing.
I just empty my coffers. I just open up. I'm like, take everything that's not nailed down here. I don't care. Just take it home with you because I have too much stuff here.
Declutter.
Actually, I have I'm working on a new product for Species Nutrition. It's called Neurolyze, or I'm calling it Neurolyze. It's one of these nootropics that's like the new hot thing to do. But it's like a mental focus type of pill. Everyone's an Adderall freak nowadays. So I wanted to make something that's not loaded with stimulants, but that still gives you mental focus and kind of makes you feel good. I'll have to send you some to try because
I love stuff like that.
It's pretty good. It's everyone has used it. My wife is like the biggest critic of everything. She doesn't think anything works. She took it. She liked it. So Cole liked it. It looks like I'm gonna make this thing. Now that I talk about it, I'm gonna get a million people emailing me and texting me. When's it coming out? When's it coming out? I don't know. I got to start. I got to put. You know what the worst part of making a new product is? The fucking label. The label takes fucking forever, because you got to get the specs and then you got to lay it out, and then you got to figure out what you want to put on the label, and then you got to get the thing made, and it takes forever. And then when they get it, then it's got to go to compliance and make sure that it's compliant. Then I got to get the lawyers to look at it, and then I got to. Back in the old days when I just started the company, I had nothing. I just freaking made the product. I put it in a freaking bottle with a label on it. Now I even made the label myself. Nowadays, to have a real company, I have to do things the right way, which takes forever. All the paraphernalia you got to go through, it's crazy. But it'll be coming out hopefully before the end of the year, and I think people will really like it. It took me a long time to find the right formula. We've been experimenting, and the thing that sucks is I won't try it myself.
Why?
Because I don't do stimulants, so I don't want to try the prototypes.
I'll
try the final product, but I'll send it to Chris.
I'll try it and give it to me like an hour before a radio show. If I'm coherent, then it works. And if
you might be up all night. That's the only problem.
Incoherent usual, then it doesn't work.
You might be up all night after you take it. So, but then again, you're kind of immune to caffeine, so maybe not. I'll let you be the judge because you're very good. You'll tell me the truth because the truth hurts. So we should have ended right there. We should have ended right there. Well, anyway, I got to do more stuff. It's almost 2 a.m. Once again, I want to congratulate all our champions from this past weekend. What shows are coming up this week? I don't even know. Have you looked at this?
Dallas, 212 Dallas.
Oh, okay. 212 Dallas. That's at the Dallas Europa Super Show.
Yep.
Who do you got in that?
Craig Richardson, Cody Montgomery.
Oh, Craig. I forgot about him. How old is he now?
Derek Farnsworth. I get like the whole lineup. Who?
Farnsworth's back with you?
Yeah, he looks very, very good.
Well, that was a good move on his part.
How old's Craig?
Yeah, how old is Craig now?
Oh God, he's got to be. What did he win the T Nationals?
I can't even remember.
Jay knows that trivia because Jay said
he's got to be in his past 45. That's for sure. He's probably about 46, 47.
I think 47.
Oh, we forgot one show. There was a show, the IFBB Veronica Gallego Pro Men's 212 this past weekend, also in Alicante, Spain.
Wait.
Did you know that?
No, who wins?
Sami Al-Haddad wins.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I didn't realize it.
Where's
Fahid Barlou from Iran was second. I'm sure King Kamali knows him. George Avila from Spain, third. Angel Frias from Spain, fourth. And in the fifth position, Steve Bentham. We were just talking about him the other day from Germany, right? So,
well, congratulations, Sammy.
Yeah.
So, is Sammy already was he not qualified for the Olympia?
He probably would have made it on points, but because he had like 14 second places or something like that. He had like 3 or 4 second places, but this will qualify him, automatically now. So that's impressive. So, congratulations, Samuel Haddad. What else was there? Was a classic physique there too. David Hoffman. Oh no, that's who we were talking about. David Hoffman from Germany. He won that show.
Yeah, he's very good.
Majid Korsakola, I can't even pronounce his name. Korsankolor from Iran was second. Igor Gostoyunin from Germany. No, from Russia, third, excuse me. But, that David Hoffman guy's a really good talent.
Yeah. Good structure.
Really good. There was a men's physique, too. David Mazzolari from Italy wins. So they had a big show. Oh, they had a figure, too. I didn't even know they had such a big show this weekend. See, I'm out of the loop now. Marta Gorozinski from Poland wins the pro figure event. The pro bikini was won by Mariello Pellegrino from Italy. A very international field. And Paloma Parra wins the pro women's physique. So, big show. I think they had a big expo too. I'm trying to think who was there. I know there's a lot of. We've seen a lot of Instagram stuff from this show. I forgot that they had a big pro division there, but that's pretty impressive. $23,000 they gave away.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was also held. It was a Mr. Olympia Amateur. That's what I thought it was. I didn't realize that they had.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they also had a big pro show in conjunction with it. It was the Veronica Gallego Pro Show. I guess that's a person who must. Whenever people put their names on shows, I always kind of like. I always think it's a little weird, don't you? Unless you're like Arnold or something like that, or Brant Warren.
I mean, Phil, Jay.
Yeah.
Like
if someone said to me, "Can we make the Dave Palumbo Classic?" Like I'd feel funny. I don't know. I don't think I'm even. I mean, people know who I am, so I guess it would be okay. But I mean, it's kind of like, well, I didn't win the Olympia or anything like that. It's like, I don't know. Maybe like a local show, like an NPC show, but a pro show. Put my name on it. I never won a pro show.
Would the RxMuscle Classic.
Yeah, that would be okay because that's like a media type of thing.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess if you put up if I put up like $100,000 for the show, I could put my name on it all I want, right? No one's going to complain.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you for being patient when my son woke up earlier, and I'll save my dad stories for last time.
All right, I'm going to go put on some Kurt Cobain and fall asleep. How's that?
Me too. All right, that's going to take us to the end of another episode. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.
911!